They desire a better country, that is a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared for them a city. All right. And with that, all right, I'm gonna stop reading. All right, finally, we're done reading. All right, but I read that, right, because God promised like Abraham, right? He was an old man, and you can see, right, God promised him in Genesis 12, but it took at least like 20 to 25 years before he even had a son. Right? Imagine holding on to that promise for so long, just walking in that faith. God, I believe you're going to do it. I believe you're going to do it. He believed in it. It was counted to him as righteousness, is what it says in Genesis 15, right? He just believed, but how long did it take to come about? Right? Think of even Moses. Moses, at 40 years old, he struck the Egyptian, trying to free his people or whatever. He flees. It wasn't until 40 years later he was serving as a shepherd. And then when he was, like 80 years old, did God call him out from the bush? How long that took, right? You can see this is just, Joseph was 17 when he was sold and 30 when he became a prime minister. All that 13-year period of just struggle and hardship, can you imagine 13 years before he finally stepped into, right, what God called him to? Even David slaying Goliath, he had already been anointed even before that. In chapter, 16, right? He had been anointed that he's going to be king. It didn't happen until he was 30. And Saul was chasing him for how many years and all that struggle before that happened? Years, man. And I read that because I'm like, man, I am nothing, right? I gave my life like fully in the summer of 2019. I would say August was really when I gave in fully, right? I've been a Christian my whole life. I've grown up in church, obviously. I used to have a little prayer life when I was a kid, whatever. But I didn't fully give myself to later on. It's only been 2.5 years, man. It feels like it's been so long, but this is nothing, right? And I've been praying to God. I pray to God so much about things, and I'm like, God, sometimes I waver a little bit because I'm like, God, where is it? God, I've been praying for this stuff. Like, all I do is pray, like, God, I want to see you move. And I want to see you move in my life. I want to see you move in the church. I pray this every single day, right? And I cry, and I have those groaning, like, God, I want to see you. And even all this week, man, I've been praying and fasting, God, I want to see. And it's just, sometimes you don't, right? Like, sometimes you pray and it's nothing, right? And sometimes I go to God, like, God, like, I feel bad because I'm like, God, I don't mean to throw anything in your face, but I give my life to you, right? And sometimes I think it's normal for us to feel like that. Like, Lord, I give you my life. Like, where's all the things that you promised, right? I'm giving my life. I trust in you, and I've given you my future, God. I trust in you financially. I told you before, if you want to see if God is a provider, look at my life, right? Because I'm a broke college student. I got nothing going for me but God, right? If y'all want to see if God is a provider, y'all can just look at my life, not only in the past, but from here on out, right? Because I'm giving my life, and sometimes I go to God with that. I'm like, Lord, like, I know you see this, right? But then I remember, I'm like, man, like, even in my life, like, man, I'm nothing, right? Sometimes I don't know if this is good or not, but I be comparing myself. I'm like, man, I'm not out here getting persecuted for the faith. I'm not out here dying. Like, God, you probably look at me like, little Stephen, okay, here we go, little baby boy, right? And that's why, like, it's just like, God, I just have to persevere. I just have to suck it up sometimes, just straight up. I just have to suck it up, right? I do cry, though, but I cry to God, right? But sometimes I'm like, man, I just need to just persevere. I'm going to just keep praying. It's only literally been 2 full years. It's been 2 full years of unwavering. I don't think I've ever missed 2 weeks of preaching. Like, there hasn't been a time that I tell God this, right? There hasn't been a time where I got distracted by a job or by a girl. Like, God, I've been in this, and I've been in this fully without wavering. God, I'm loyal, but God, like, it's only been 2 years, and that literally, like, man, God. And that's why I read stuff like with Timothy, and he talks about, right, if you want to be a deacon, you can't be a new believer, right? There's a maturity in Christianity that only comes with time, with perseverance, right? That's not something that an anointing could give you. Right? Like, yes, you can be a good preacher with an anointing, but that perseverance, that comes over time. That doesn't happen in a day, right? No matter how mightily God's Spirit falls on you, right? There's a perseverance that's built over time, right? And that's why I'm like, God, that's what you're building in me. Even with this, as I just daily, we all want the promised land, right? But like with Egypt, they didn't want the day-to-day stuff. That's why they complained all throughout, right? We all want the what's to come, but even just the day-to-day walking with God and the trusting in him, that's what's hard, right? But that's what's going to take you there, right? And that's what, even when I look at y'all, a lot of y'all have been serving God longer than I have been alive, right? That's why I look at y'all, I'm like, man, I respect the heck out of y'all, man, right? Because I know how hard this is, right? And I look at y'all, I'm like, man, y'all are way above me, man. Y'all are awesome, right? Because like I want God to move in my life. I want what y'all have, right? I look at all y'all that are older, that have been in the faith for so long. I want what y'all have, right? I want to be older and being like, yes, I'm still faithful. I'm still living my life for God. And that's why I look at y'all, I'm like, God, I want a perseverance like that, right? Like all of y'all, right? And with that, even though I still crying to God, I'm still waiting for God to answer my prayers. Even with prayer and fasting, I have to stop myself. And where he says, when you hear my voice, don't harden your heart, right? Sometimes when I don't see God move in my life or I don't see him answer, like even yesterday, I was like, God, I've been praying all week and nothing. And usually I dedicate my whole Saturdays to just prayer. And yesterday I was like, God, I've already dedicated my whole week and nothing. Right? And then I hardened my heart, even a little bit. I'm like, God, forgive me, God. I mean, I didn't go out and sin or do anything bad or anything, though, but I was like, God, I just got a little hard, right? And forgive me, God, but I'm going to just pray for perseverance and I'm going to just keep the faith and keep walking, right? Like y'all have y'all's whole lives, man. It's awesome, but